Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Sister Wives Cristin Brown revisits childhood memories. Sister Wives fans are amazed at how active Cristin Brown and David Woolley are during their marriage. When Cristin was part of Cody Brown's polygamist family, they rarely traveled, and when they did, they seldom ventured far from home. In a recent Instagram post, Cristin revealed she and David visited an entirely different country together. Interestingly enough, it was a place the TLC star's family visited often when she was a child. Read on to get the scoop and see what Cristin shared. Cristin Brown and David Woolley both spent time in Mexico as kids. Sister Wives fans know that Cristin Brown Woolley was born and raised in polygamy. She is even related to the infamous LeBaron branch of Mormon fundamentalism. The LeBaron family founded Colonia LeBaron in Chihuahua, Mexico in the 1950s. The site remains a popular gathering site for many descendants of the family, including Cristin. She and David Woolley decided it was a perfect place to vacation and bask in her childhood memories. Interestingly enough, David spent time there too in his youth. Exploring Colonia LeBaron was a trip down memory lane for both of us. Cristin captioned an Instagram video of herself and David exploring the area. He used to visit with his family, and my mom's biological father lived there. Our paths almost crossed so many times. I even attended a few weddings there, and guess who else was at one of them? And no, we're not related. Life works in mysterious ways. Instagram users truly appreciated seeing Cristin and David enjoy themselves in sunny Mexico. They left comments including, "Isn't it nice to express your affection anytime and where you want and feel it reciprocated? I don't know how any of you women lived without it. It's heartbreaking. Cristin, it is so wonderful to see your joy in your marriage. Hooray. Wow, that's crazy to think that you guys attended the same wedding. We live in a small world. This just gives me all the feels. Truly joyful for you." Fans can't wait to see their chemistry on screen. Sister Wives Season 19 will be out sometime this fall. And when the premiere day comes, fans are excited to see David and Cristin's romance on camera. Perhaps a trip to Mexico will even make it into the season. Cristin Brown found herself standing at the edge of a forgotten meadow, her heart thumping in her chest as memories of her childhood came flooding back. The scent of wildflowers, the gentle hum of bees, and the distant rustling of leaves in the breeze. All of it brought her back to a simpler time, a time before the weight of her world became so heavy. She hadn't been back to this place in years, not since she was a little girl, running through the tall grass with the kind of abandon that only a child knows. She closed her eyes, letting the past wash over her, and suddenly she was 8 years old again. Back then, the world was full of magic and mystery, every day an adventure waiting to unfold. She remembered the days spent exploring this meadow with her siblings, their laughter ringing out as they chased each other through the grass. They would play for hours, their imaginations running wild as they pretended to be explorers in a far-off land, knights on a quest, or anything else their young minds could conjure. It was here, in this very meadow, that Cristin had first learned about the importance of family. Her parents had brought her and her siblings here to teach them about their heritage, about the deep roots they had in this land. They would sit together under the shade of the old oak tree that stood tall in the center of the meadow, its branches stretching out like welcoming arms. Her mother would tell stories about their ancestors, the hardships they had faced, and the strength they had found in each other. Her father would speak of the importance of unity, of standing by one another no matter what. These lessons had stayed with Cristin throughout her life, guiding her through the challenges she would later face. As she grew older, life became more complicated. The carefree days of her childhood were replaced by the responsibilities of adulthood, the struggles of marriage, and the pressures of raising a family. But no matter how difficult things became, Cristin always held onto the values she had learned in this meadow. Family was everything. Cristin opened her eyes and looked around, taking in the sight of the meadow as it was now. It was still beautiful, still peaceful, but there was a sadness to it now that hadn't been there before. The oak tree in the center had aged, its branches not as strong as they once were. Some of the wildflowers were gone, replaced by patches of bare earth. The changes were subtle, but they were there, a reminder that time moves on, whether we want it to or not. As she walked through the meadow, Cristin couldn't help but think about how much her own life had changed. The little girl who used to play here had grown up to become a woman who had faced more than her fair share of challenges. Her journey through life had not been an easy one. She had become a wife, a mother, and then, years later, a woman who had to make the difficult decision to leave a marriage that no longer brought her happiness. Leaving Cody had been one of the hardest things Cristin had ever done. It was a decision she had agonized over for years, torn between the life she had built with him and the growing realization that she needed something more. She needed to be true to herself, to find the happiness that had eluded her for so long. And so with a heavy heart, she had walked away, choosing to forge a new path for herself and her children. But as she stood in the meadow, Cristin realized that her decision to leave hadn't been about abandoning her past. It had been about honoring it. The lessons she had learned here, under the shade of the old oak tree, were the same ones that had given her the strength to make that choice. She had always been taught to stand up for what was right, to fight for the things that mattered most. And in the end, she had done just that. The memories of her childhood had given her the courage to seek a better life for herself, to create a future where she could be happy and fulfilled. They had reminded her that she was strong, that she could weather any storm as long as she held on to the things that truly mattered: family, love, and the belief in a better tomorrow. These were the things that had guided her then, and they continued to guide her now. Cristin took a deep breath, feeling a sense of peace wash over her. This meadow, this place that held so many memories, was a part of her. It was where she had learned about love, about family, about the strength that comes from standing together. And it was where she had learned that sometimes the most important thing you can do is to stand up for yourself, to fight for your own happiness. As she turned to leave, Cristin felt a renewed sense of purpose. The journey ahead of her was still uncertain, but she knew that she was ready for whatever came next. She had faced so much already, and she had come out stronger on the other side. And now, with the lessons of her childhood firmly in her heart, Cristin walked away from the meadow, leaving behind the memories of the past, but taking with her the strength they had given her. She knew that the road ahead would not be easy, but she also knew that she was ready. After all, she had faced difficult choices before, and she had come through them stronger and more determined than ever. And as she stepped out of the meadow and back into the world, Cristin couldn't help but smile. She was ready for whatever came next, and she knew that no matter what happened, she would always have the memories of this place to guide her. The little girl who had once played in the meadow had grown into a strong, determined woman, and she was just getting started.